Hello campers, this is the Suburban Camper and today I'm doing a video on the loading configurations for solo camping. The video footage in this video is from a trip where I went and did some skiing and then moved on to camp and fish in a beautiful canyon. So I want to start by talking through the activity gear that I had on this trip. So I'll talk about, the solo configuration with and without activity. This particular trip had activity gear with it. And the extra gear on this trip are my skis and poles, which are up in the cargo carrier. And then my ski boots, along with my ski duffel, which I have inside the vehicle. And I'll show you that here in a bit. Also have some fishing gear with me, just some light gear, one pole and my vest stocked with some light fishing gear. So not really much of a factor in terms of loading, but it is along for the ride. So we're starting from the back, and the bin on the left bottom there is the battery bin. That is the dedicated location for that bin. It's very heavy. The battery itself is 65 pounds, so I only want to load that and unload that once on a trip. So I have now dedicated that spot for the battery bin. The Coleman cooler sits on top of that. Pretty lucky that it actually just locks right into the top, fits right within the lid there, and keeps it very, very secure. So not like I planned that, just happened to work out that way, which is great. And then over there to the right, got the water jugs. I was pretty remote on this trip with no access to water because it was a winter trip. So I am carrying some extra water there, as you can see in the larger 7-gallon jug there next to the 5-gallon Coleman jug. So the fire extinguisher also there on the left side. That's permanently mounted in the back of my Suburban. Be sure and check out my safety page at suburbancamping.com and talk about that and a lot of other safety features that I built into my Suburban. So zoom in here a bit and you'll see the 3 bins that I need quick access to. Those are the bins behind the water jugs. That is the food bin, the kitchen bin, and the beverage bin. So all I need to do to access those is unload the cooler and then turn the battery bin so it's lengthwise, remove the water jugs, and then I can slide out those 3 bins and make a meal. All right, we'll move around to the driver's side and the rear passenger door, and you'll see where the bed is set up and ready to go. So when I arrive at a campsite, all I have to do is move the Coleman cooler from the back to the front seat. That frees up emergency exit access out the rear hatch window just in case. And then I'm ready to go. All I have to do is climb in and go to sleep, and that's a very nice setup. Moving around to the driver door, you can see that I have my backpack on the middle console there. That is where it will be when I'm sleeping. When I'm traveling, there's plenty of room to throw stuff on top of the bed in the back. So I will put some things like the backpack and camera bag on top there while we're traveling down the road. Let's walk around to the other side of the vehicle. As we do that, you'll see that I have my sunshade up. This is a cold trip, so I've got the white side out and the silver side in, with the idea that it does reflect some heat back into the cabin. So here we are in the passenger seat, and you see that is the permanent or the dedicated location for the Yeti. I use that for ice, and that's where it always rides. On top of that, I've got my boot bag for the ski trip, and then on the floorboard, I have the propane heater, and the space heater is also down there. And then on top of that, I have my camera bag, and I've got my camera mounted on my tripod and ready to go at this point in time. Moving on to the rear passenger door, this is Zoe's spot. This is where she rides and sleeps. For a while, that was kind of rotating her around between the front and the back in various spots, but it's much easier to have a dedicated spot for her. So this, again, is where she rides and sleeps all the time, and that minimizes shuffling of bins and things around. Also, below her blankets there is the generator. Fits very nicely on the floorboard and kind of also serves as a bit of a platform for her when she's riding down the road and sleeping in that spot. Behind Zoe's seat, I have two bins, the camping gear bin and the canopy, the second canopy bin. Again, with the idea that those don't necessarily need to be have quick access like I do with the other, the food and beverage and kitchen bin. The toilet snaps right on the top of a bin, so that is where it is riding. Got lucky with that, just fitting perfectly in there. And then, as you can see, the ski duffel is riding on top of that. And the chair is down the side here. And I don't have a table on this trip. I'm using the hitch bin carrier as my kitchen, so don't need a table. And then I've got the privacy tent for the bathroom setup. Just slid down the side there. It folds very flat, very nice, fits in a lot of different spaces. And finally, here is the rear of the vehicle with the rear hatch closed. And I just want to show you what I'm carrying in the hitch bin carrier on this trip. I've got the propane tank in the top hitch bin carrier. And then one of the canopy bins is on the bottom. And then I'm using a lid that I have the solar panel mounted to there. And then the gas can rides on top of that. Please note this does not show how I secure the propane tank and the bin and the solar panel on the back. I'll be doing a separate video on security, so be sure and check that out. You'll hear me refer to different variations to loading configurations. For example, this is the solo configuration with activity gear, meaning the ski gear and fishing gear that I'm carrying. Another modification to this would be if this were a full fishing trip where I'm carrying all my fishing gear. I have two bins that gear is stored in. So I would modify this setup. I would put the propane tank up top on the cargo rack, and then I would put one of the fishing bins in the top of the hitch bin carrier there, and then I would put the other fishing bin on top of that stack behind Zoe's seat where the duffel is currently, the ski duffel is currently riding. So lots of options for modifications. This is one of my favorite setups. Again, with the bed set up and ready to go, it's very nice to just be able to just move the cooler and jump in and go to sleep. Gives you a lot of flexibility on the trip. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and for more information on how to camp in a Suburban, please check out my website, suburbancamping.com. Thank you very much.